So I'm gonna test out the mana tank build. This time we have 209 mana. We could bump this up to another plus 50 with mana resource potion, but we're not gonna use any potions. My current health pool is at 881. I could get this a little bit lower for even more damage reduction, but I think this is okay right now. So current gear, we have Ever Living, Disobedience, Accelerating, Might, Fortune, Gravitational, Elementalist, Recharging, Tarashas, and Melted Heart of Selig. So the idea behind this build revolves around this uber unique, which is Melted Heart of Selig. So whenever you take damage, instead of your health taking damage, you'll take mana as damage. And the amount is 3 mana for every 1% of life you would have lost. And if we pair that up with damage reduction while injured, you'll get really tanky. And that is the idea behind this build, to be as tanky as possible. So we won't do as much damage as our other builds, but the idea is to be as tanky as possible. So in our Paragon, we have as much mana as in life as possible. So that's how we got these max life and max mana nodes. And this Paragon board is a little bit different than my other ones. This is not a universal Paragon board. This board is just specifically made just for this build, and it will be tailored once the December 5th dungeon comes out. So once that is out, this board will be modified a little bit more, but right now I'm just working with the glyphs that I have right now. So I'm going to test out how tanky this build can be. Able to eat the crystal's damage. This takes us down to, we have 209 mana. Takes us down to about 150 or so. Not bad. Let's see what we can do as far as damage goes.
I'm not ready yet.
Probably could get even tankier if I were to swap out Hectic for thus Fortified versus Sanguine Brace. Now I have another plus 10% damage at that point.
need time.
So our max mana is 209 currently, and our health pool's at 881.
I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I'm not ready yet. I need time to prepare that.
So at least we have two variations of the different lightning builds. So if we ever need to be tankier, this is an option. The only caveat is that you do require this uber unique amulet, the melted heart of Selig. You also require damage reduction while injured, and several other pieces of more damage reduction.
I'm not ready yet.
What this allows you to do is just kind of bulldoze through all the content and just space tank everything.
I need time to prepare that. I need time to prepare that.
Couldn't have made it without.
I need time to prepare that.
It'd be incredible if you just sit there and face tank everything, but so you're not totally invulnerable, but you're able to be quite a lot of damage. Alright, let's see how much boss damage we can get. Probably not a whole lot. Well, as long as ball lightning is a thing, I could still do pretty good damage. Well, Have all my glyphs maxed out. Okay, so I'm just going to go over the gear that I have. Ideal stats for the helmet. If you're going to go with this build, you would want to have... Let me pull this up real quick. Cooldown reduction, total armor, max mana, max life. And then for the chest piece, ideally you would want total armor, max life, damage reduction from burning. For gloves, you would want critical strike chance, attack speed, lucky hit chance. Lucky hit restores primary resource. For pants, we have total armor, max life, damage reduction while injured, that is the most important stat, and damage reduction from burning. For boots, your ideal stats are damage reduction while injured, mana cost reduction, ranks to teleport, or ranks to intelligence. For your weapon, you just want the highest item level, damage to close, critical strike damage, intel, and all stats. For your offhand, your ideal stats are cooldown reduction, damage reduction from burning, resource generation, lucky hit restores primary resource. For your ring, your ideal stats are resource generation, max mana, max life, lucky hit chance. And we have Tarasha's ring and the Uber Unique, which is how this whole build revolves around. For our vampire powers, we have Sanguine Brace if you want to be even more tanky for an additional 10% damage reduction and 8% crit chance. You could also swap this out for Infection or a 4th stack of Tarasha, which is an additional 15% multiplier. Or you can get Domination. You could also get Anticipation. Or you can get Hectic. So either of those can replace this one, depending on how it is you want to play. The other mandatory power would be Resilience. So you get more damage reduction the more life you're missing. So for each 2% of life you're missing, you get 1% damage reduction. So that's why we're also low life. So not only do we benefit from damage reduction from low life here, but also from the vampire power. So currently our damage reduction is at 63% while injured, and then 44% from burning. And that's not including the vampire power, which isn't calculated in here. The other vampires, we have a Cursed Touch and Prey on the Weak. This makes things vulnerable. And we have Ravenous. So we have more attack speed. It helps with ball lightning. Helps with everything. Ravenous, Unstable Currents, and Accelerating, they all stack. So even though technically your attack speed cap should be only at 100% bonus, Accelerating and Unstable Currents, this part right here, they count as separate bonuses, so they allow it to stack too. For our points, we have Arc Lash. This could probably be interchanged for Spark if you just want a ranged basic attack and don't want a melee one. So either of these two are interchangeable. Burning, which is required to make things so we can have more damage reduction from burning enemies, and we do more damage to burning. Have more max mana, which is nice. More damage. This helps us regain our mana back. This gives us more damage reduction. And vulnerability right here. Teleport movement and more damage reduction right here. We don't have any points in Glass Cannon, so we could opt to get this, but do not that we won't be as tanky since we'll be taking more damage. But that is an option if you want. We have Ice Blades here just to get the benefit for Tarasha. Lucky hit chance to help with our primary resource generation. We have Conjuration Mastery, so whenever we cast Unstable Current, we can proc Lightning Spears, and we get more damage. Mana Shield, every time we spend 100 mana, we get even more damage reduction. We're not using any barriers, so that's why we don't have Ice Armor, and that's why we don't have points in here. That's also why we don't have any Conceited or Storm Swell, because we're not using barriers in this build. And the other reason we're not using barriers is because if we are using Fortified or Sanguine Brace, you don't get the benefit of the extra damage reduction, because the barriers in Fortified do not stack. It's either one or the other. And so you're more tanky without the barriers in this build. Okay, so down here we have Devouring Blaze for more damage. Ball Lightning, more damage. This helps us get our mana back. More charged orbs. We pick up the orbs for more mana. More damage reduction from here. Unstable currents, more attack speed, and more procs for different abilities. And overflowing energy just to reduce the cooldown of our unstable and our teleport. We could swap to Beer's Mastery for even more damage reduction. However, the extra damage bonus doesn't work. Like, for some reason, it's not calculated. You do not get 15% increased damage for some reason. But if it did work, then yes, you could swap to this and you'll get the benefit of more damage and be tankier. But unfortunately, the Beer's Mastery does not work completely. So you'll get less damage reduction. Like, you'll get the damage reduction bonus, but you will not get the damage amplification bonus, if that makes sense. So that's why we're going with Overflying. Plus, Overflying just makes things nice, faster cooldowns on Unstable. Since we already do very little damage, we need all the damage we can without sacrificing our tankiness. So for Paragon board, so this is a specifically tailored board for this build revolving around the Uber Unique. So we are taking points for max mana and max life. This board is not completely, I guess, updated. Well, it's updated for the current patch, but once the Abattoir of Zir or the new dungeon comes out, this board will be completely filled up, and we'll be managing our points around to get this board maxed out. And I'll post the build link below showing that, so that you can have a pre-patch and a current patch once December 5th comes around. So the first board we have Tactician. On the second board, this is the Burning Instinct board. We grab the burning damage reduction and damage reduction from burning enemies. On the third board, it has to be in this order, by the way. On the third board, we have Elemental Summoner, and we grab Reservoir because this gives us a lot of mana pool. And since our build revolves around having a large mana pool, this is why we grab this. We have Destruction here. Now, do not, like I said, this is just for the current patch. once the December 5th dungeon comes out, the glyphs and points will be slightly tailored for that. Our fourth board, we have warding. So we take reduced damage the less mana we have. This is the Enchantment Master board. The next board, we have Frigid Fate, and we put Territorial, so for more damage reduction. And the last board, we have Static Surge, and we have Adapt. Now, once the December dungeon comes out, this glyph will be replaced for the new one, and the new one gives you a lot more damage amplification, and I'll show you guys that below. Okay, so I just wanted to show you the updated boards that I made for the upcoming patch in December. So over here on the left side, we have ABBA boards, which is Abatoir. I just put ABA for short. Check Paragon variant tabs. What that means is if you look over here on the Paragon tab, you scroll down here on the bottom left, click on this, and it will open up another tab. And these are different variations for lightning builds. So any lightning build can work for this. So this board right here is very similar to the universal board. The only difference is that I moved board 6 that used to be down here, and I moved it up here. And as you can see, the new glyph up here gives you a lot of stats. That is why we might have a fewer board, and we might have to shuffle some points around. Now I call this the standard ABA board because I also have different variations of this. So if the dungeon requires us to be even tankier, we have this setup. And so the difference of this is that I drop Caesar's Conduit board and the Flame Peter board. And I use those points to grab more defenses and damage reduction. And this board setup can work for any of the lightning builds. Now, if you want to run a build revolving around Mana Shield and Heart of Selig, this is the board that I was using. In a similar capacity, maybe it's not exact, but things can be tailored. For now, like until 2 weeks from now, like this board won't matter anymore. So like after December 5th, like this board will be irrelevant. But this is kind of the board that I'm running with right now. It might not be exact, but it's a similar capacity. But once December 5th comes out and you get your glyph, it's gonna look like this. So you start off here, get your second board is Burning Instinct, the third one is Elemental Summoner, the fourth one is Enchantment Master, the fifth one is Frigid Fate, and then Static Surge. Now, do note that I have even more variations on this. So, if we go right here. So, I have Mana Tank, Uber Ami required. So, you need your amulet to make this build work. So, this build is even tankier. But then if you want to do more damage, I pick up Frigid Fate. So, scroll down over here. Mana Tank B2, less HP, more DPS. So you click on that one, and you lose out on health for Frigid Fate, which is more damage. But as you can see, the build that I was running with is very tanky, but it's significantly a lot less DPS. But I believe that once the December dungeon comes out and you pick up this glyph will make up for that DPS loss. So now you'll be even tanky and have the damage for both. The other thing about this glyph is that it scales up to level 200. And for every point that you pick up here, it benefits the glyph. And so you get dexterity, intel, strength, and willpower. You pick up those and it will benefit this glyph. And that's why we pick up as many as we can. Static Search Board and the Frigid Fate Board have the most amount of points that you can pick up in one slot. So that's why these two boards are the best if you want to utilize this glyph. But I believe Static Search has the most amount of glyphs or points around here. So that's why we use it on this one. Okay, that is all for now. Made some updates on here, and just be sure to, when you click on the link right here, click on this part when you get to the Paragon War tab, and you can see the different Paragon variations. Alright, that is all. Thanks for watching. Bye.